Okay, this is DragonofEternity and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Patch 6.15 content. In the last video I went through the Tartaru's Grand Endeavour quest, or at least the first quest. I'm not sure if any more are going to be added to 6.15 or if that's a later patch, like one quest a patch kind of deal. Yeah, I can only wait and find out. So, in this video, I am going to go through the Omega Beyond the Rift storyline, or quest line. Now, in order to have this quest appear, you need to have done the Omega raids. So, that is the... let's see, it'll be Stormblood. Yeah, that is the normal raids for Stormblood, so you need to have completed Alphascape 4.0. And probably need to complete Endwalker as well, and then this quest will appear. And it'll appear right over here at Scarlet Harbour in Old Charlian. So, a Heartless hypothesis. The bespectacled technician is enjoying the refreshing harbour breeze. And that's blown the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Goodness me, look who it is, how incredibly serendipitous that I run into you of all people. I was part of the team which designed the Ragnarok, you see, and we've recently begun the process of combing through the vessel's flight log data. The primary objective of your journey to Ultima Thule was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it has also provided us with an invaluable trove of information, records of places and events we could only dream of. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As it so happens, one of the things we pulled from the log was a transmission of unknown origin, something the ship must have intercepted during its flight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our most talented linguists have been unable to decipher the language. For a while there, it seemed we must accept defeat, but today may be the day that we finally solve the mystery. If you were so inclined, would you care to come along to Firmazane? It seems fitting to have one of the Ragnarok's original passengers present to hear history being made. Alright. Hey, come back, I want to check your hair, it's cute. It's like a new ponytail hair design. Yeah, well. Right, Aporia. So I've seen a couple of screenshots about this, and apparently I go to the moon at one point. Yeah, who knows. I really need to get the bloody Starbird minion. I saw a drop when I went for the Dead Ends dungeon once. I didn't win the role, but I saw a drop. Alright, all the way down here. Hello? Ah. You know, while you're here, and home, yeah, that ponytail and the curls is adorable. I want it. Where do I get it? Ah, there you are. This is where we're to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who, I am told, potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. They should be along at any moment. Okie dokie. There's a Biggs and Wedge. Sorry we're late, we had some trouble finding the right... God, is that you, Marishna? Aye. It's Biggs! Where's Wedge? Yes, the woman herself. I ran into her at the harbour, and thought if anyone deserved to hear this message deciphered, it was Mariashna Grandini. No argument here, but bugger me if you don't have a knack for being at the right place at the right time. This actually has more to do with you than you might think, so please do stick around. Oh. Shall we pick up from where we left off then? As I was saying, we think this transmission, the Ragnarok intercepted, is a message of some kind, albeit in a language entirely alien to our ears. Alien being the operative word here, considering we received the message out in the Great Expanse. Its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of off-world allies is presently rather short, thus we were resigned to the fact that the meaning behind the message would remain beyond our understanding. One of my colleagues, however, refused to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers who had been so helpful in the construction of the Ragnarok, and turned to them for insight into our seemingly impossible problem. Do you know what Wedge said when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet it can tell us what the message means. Not the Omega you beat in the Rift, of course. He's talking about the toy that trundles around with Alpha, the little model we made. We originally designed it to follow a chosen target and not much else, but I've seen it act in ways that, well, it's like it has a mind of its own. It's almost like Omega transferred its consciousness into it. Shadowbringer's story. Then I got to thinking about those documents you lot sent the Chief, the full report on the final days. In the part about Omega's civilization, it said that people discovered how to convert the mind into data and store it outside the body. Timing being what it was, I wonder if Omega didn't somehow transfer its consciousness into our model, right before you put an end to the real one. Finally, someone's figured it out. And it didn't take an alternate story. An alternate future where everyone died. So, in an effort to get to the bottom of that, as well as take a crack at this indecipherable message, we've decided to make some modifications. With the help from Labyrinthos technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. Oh no, it can talk. We played the transmission for Omega, and I think it's ready to share. Hi, Alpha. Are you in there, Omega? Affirmative. If by Omega you're referring to my consciousness, rather than my entire former chassis existing inside this considerably smaller frame. So you did survive. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. These I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, this chassis remains unmodified from the design constructed by the engineers Biggs and Wedge. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current material form be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness or presence I possess will also be lost. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or your star, nor do my projections indicate the necessity to inflict harm. Okay. In the fraction of a moment before my annihilation in the rift, I re-examined my directives. If I am to fulfill my purpose as an evolving construct, then I must continue my journey for improvement for as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Well, there you have it. And it's not wrong about its combat capabilities. It's more likely to damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. But let's not forget the reason we brought you here in the first place. What about the transmission they played for you? Could you recognize the language? Affirmative. It was transmitted in a pan-galactic basic. A what? Pan-galactic basic? A common language in comparatively extensive usage throughout the worlds we have conquered. Which means you can finally tell us what the message said. That is a language you understand, yes? I understand it perfectly. I am fluent in over 6 million distinct dialectal codings. Or dialectal codes. Blip. My cooperation in this matter, however, is conditional. Elaboration. Your Chief Sid utilizes the floor as part of his unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan the reports on the final days. I am aware that my home star, the one you called Alphatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of Sir and Meteon's meeting. The existence of Dynamis has not previously factored into my projections, but I now comprehend the concept, in theory. What fails to compute is why the Omicrons were not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. And yet, Sir expressed to Meteon a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must pursue this anomaly further, until the full equation becomes clear to me. I must analyse all the elements of the final days, and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. To expedite this process, I require an external interpretation of those sections of the report which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the assistance of Marius de Grandini, as one who experienced the ravages of ultimate despair, on multiple fronts, and displayed immeasurable heart in engineering my defeat. She is the optimal choice to fulfill this role. Alpha's asleep. So, we've agreed to your conditions, or you tell us nothing. I'm sorry to put you in a spot like this, Marish. If you have the time and the patience to spare, we'd all be grateful if you could humour the toy's demands. Aye, aye. As Alpha dozed off, I suppose the subject was a bit technical. Bloop. Rouse yourself, Alpha. You must listen to and consider these matters, even as I must. Why don't you make a trip out of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the things Omega wants to ask about. It'll make explaining stuff easier, for one, and also help keep Alpha awake and alert. Aye, aye. Right, road trip with the tiny chocobo and the Omega. What a remarkable development. Biggs and Wedge told me much of your encounter with Omega before we began, and now that we have the Omicron's weapon talking, there are so many questions I am simply dying to ask. Back when we were first exploring our options, we did actually consider playing the transmission to the inhabitants of Ultima Thule. The problem is, we would be dealing with beings we created through Dynamis. The communication is based on emotional energy, and anything lacking in that vital component would likely fail to register. That rules out a recorded message. And so we discussed on the resources we had to hand, never dreaming that the solution would all but fall into our lap. Never dreaming that the solution would all but fall into our lap. Alright, there's a lot of people here. Omega has been an outright terror to us in the past, but it's almost strange how little it frightens me now. It helps that it's trapped inside that tiny model, of course, and that it follows Alpha around like a puppy. But most of all, I remember the Chief telling me how much it sounded like a lost child there at the end. Yeah. I bet the Chief won't see this one coming once he gets over the shock, though. I don't think he'll want us to destroy Omega. Here, on the other hand, he'll want to use the model for some dangerous experiments. In fact, maybe we should put off making a report for now. Nero will probably want to upgrade him. Is that how the ultimate starts? Alpha. Where? And Omega. I see you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. Setting aside the matter of Sir, there are 3 elements of the report on which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progression of the final days in radz-at-han. I recognise no pattern in those who succumbed to the transformation, and those who did not. That's a bit of a trek. If you want to chat with the locals, how about we lend you an airship? We do not require such outmoded technology. Marish's teleportation spell is the most efficient option for long-distance travelling. What about you? The chassis is a model, essentially a toy, and Alpha, despite his organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion, we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up, and you can teleport the 3 of us to our destination. Alright. So I guess I'm stuffing you 2 in my bags then. Guess while I'm in radz-at-han, I can check to see if the Hildebrand quest is here. Yeah. Let's see if we're here with the Crystarium. Yeah, I'll probably have to do the Hildebrand quest tomorrow. Yeah. Oh well. And it is here. Alright, that is good to know for future. Right, Alpha. How you doing, buddy? Quay. Blip. Sensors indicate we have arrived in radz-at-han. Objective. Identify factors for resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis. Unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this theory will require the cooperation of live subjects. Where is the ward designated for residential habitation? Understood. Kama, set as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview. Are these 2 gonna follow me? Oh, hell yeah! Alright, I just got these 2 following me now. So I need to go to Kama then. And apparently I can talk to them here. Okie dokie. Hello. Discuss the stairs. Quay. Alpha chirps enthusiastically, apparently unfazed by the prospects of climbing the stairs. Alright. Discuss the stairs. Warning, please avoid the stairs whenever possible. My projections indicate high risk probability for accidental spillage. Slippage, leading to catastrophic structural damage. Stepped inclines also increase my energy consumption by 63%. In mortal terms, they tire me out. Taking into account the difference in individual limb length, the design is inherently flawed. A convenient step height for one is an exhausting trial for another. Were I to oversee the civic design of the settlement, I would construct a sloped conveyor belt, which enabled automatic traversal. 0 personal energy expenditure. Alright, so can I actually take you up here? Yeah, I can. You were just whining over nothing. Alright. Good to know. You know, I feel like I should add someone to this. Where is he? Midi! There we go. Alright, I got the Omega Trio. I could have just teleported here. Ah well. Going down the stairs. Let's see, Melancholy Man. Are you a traveller? Please, if you have a moment, I could use an outsider's perspective. You see, I was one of those who sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went in the end. So here I am, richly returned from Charlian. Except now things are strained between my sister and I since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I ask her to help me find work and she suggests I look somewhere that isn't Favnir. As if I wanted to abandon my home. It makes me so angry. Blip, your point is unclear. You elected to relocate to the star's satellite, thus your relative now perceives you in a negative light. Your sibling's judgment is an error. Based on the information made available to Hannish citizens, your decision to withdraw to the moon was both logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain in radz-at-han, despite the low probability of survival, defies explanation. Perhaps her reasoning pathways are faulty. Don't tell that to a woman. That's right! I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Also, I'd like to think. The problem is I understand why my sister feels this way. I almost decided against going myself. Even then, I wasn't sure that leaving behind everything I loved was the right choice. And with the way it all turned out, I know, I should be having a talk with my sister. I'll go and see her once I get my thoughts in order. Thank you for listening to my troubles. Alright. Next one. Matty. Oh, hello again. Did I talk to you earlier? Maybe I did. You're the one who came to ask me questions about Kalzal. Oh, right. Yeah, I did. Shit. I'm glad to see you looking well after all that unpleasantness. I remember the burning skies and hearing the screams, but truth be told, I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I only know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing. Many of my neighbours' houses lie empty even now. Kalzal's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of, and I heard that it was members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Blip. Terrible. Okay, let me read this. Blip. Terrible. Kalzal's passing was recorded in the report. Clearing out his domicile and readying it for new habitation seems an appropriate reallocation of resources. Dear me, what a clever little contraption, but of course I'm not against making use of his quarters. That would be wasteful. It's simply that Kalzal was always such a vigorous person. All that passion, all those dreams, suddenly gone. I feel the same sorrow for everyone who was lost, seeing the remnants of those vibrant lives packed away in boxes. That is what I mean by terrible. That awful end of day's business almost brought an end to Kalzal's consortium. It's heartening, though, watching those who survived work to carry on his legacy. Maybe it's time I put aside my own grief and did something to help. Alright, final one is Huron Boy. Hello. I said hello. Hey, don't I know you? Yes, after the beasts were taken care of, you told me to join everyone in the square. Thanks to you, I was there when Vritra gave his speech, and I found out who Varshan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to, but Mama says Vritra has been busy putting the city back in order. Maybe I can work for him one day, when I'm a man grown. Vritra. Midgardsormr's offspring, yes, and this child wishes to put himself at the worm's command, that he might make his own contribution to society. A pattern emerges. I predict that the Hannish survivors are those who had ingested Vritra's blood and become his draconic minions. Though dragons were no match for our civilization's might, their combat capabilities are not to be underestimated. It is unlikely they will experience emotions of dread or uncertainty as exhibited by lesser beings in times of undue stress. Dragons? I'm not a dragon, and I never ingested anyone's blood either. Ew. You are not of Vritra's horde, so you possessed no hidden means to fight off the beasts. What a fear then? You were frightened? Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me. At least until she told me it was safe to come out. Marishna, I require a moment to process this input. Let us move apart and discuss our findings. I still see Varshan around from time to time, you know. They say he uses that body to scout places where his Vritra body can't fit. He even talked to me once, but it was just too strange hearing grown-up words coming from Varshan's mouth. Yeah, I'd imagine so. So, designate a location and speak. Back up way. Blip. Processing data. Evaluating hypothesis against accumulated evidence. I offered an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony, yet each time their responses conflicted with my assessment. Without identifying the root cause of this conflict, I will be unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart. Perhaps the heart you seek lies in the conflict itself. Perhaps we should continue the questioning, perhaps this matters beyond you. The heart you seek lies in conflict itself. An interesting observation. It is possible my base criteria is an error, in which case it is imperative I continue this learning process and repair any fundamental misconceptions. Next, I wish to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Ghazal prior to his transformation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? Fish guy. Dejan Baha of Revadar Fibers. Acknowledged. Sub-destination set. Alright, so I'm going to see Voxer again. Okie dokie. Ooh, there's a talking point there. Yeah, let's go to that talking point. I don't suppose there's one if I do all the bloody jumping puzzles, do I? Is there? Nah, probably not. Would be funny. So, all the way over there then. Come on, up the stairs, buddy. I wonder what kind of power he works on or runs on. Okay, so the talking point's over there. Oh, is this going to be about the chicken tenders? If I was so, I would laugh my ass off. Discuss the Hamza. Quay. Alpha looks back and forth between Omega and Hamza, showing visible concern. Okay. Discuss the Hamza. Halt, Marishna. Do not proceed beyond the fence. In this body, birds of that size represent lethal, unthinking threats. They will peck my casing apart, searching for meat that does not exist. Conversely, Alpha can correctly identify my absence of nutritional content, if only he would apply that intelligence towards maintaining a regular feeding schedule. Poor habits adversely affect his mobility. Well, okay then. Alpha's not eating properly. Mood. Right, time to talk to Voxer again. He just looks like, you know, Shenpai's Voxer. It's funny. Well, look who it is. I must thank you again for your help in moving our textiles. Recovering from those tragic events has been difficult, of course, but with everyone pulling together, we've managed to get things back up and running. Jinabaha. I come with questions related to that tragedy, specifically your survival of the final days. Although you are similar to Karzal in many respects, he succumbed to the transformation and you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him? What? I'm not sure I follow, or I'm not sure I know. Can I go back to this? I'm sure I don't know. I'm not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. Perhaps being focused on protecting our workshops kept me from spinning into a panic. Still, I imagine Kalzal would have been feeling that same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all is what invited his demise. You were of the same kind, resolved to the same purpose. Yet your strength of thought, of spirit, was not equal. If merely emulating the individual is insufficient, then some other unseen factor must be involved. Not to interrupt these deep philosophical musings, but do you think I could ask you a small favour? What? There's a man by the name of Nashvan who's been helping us out here while he gets back on his feet. I have a feeling he'd benefit from speaking with you. Leave by the eastern exit and you should find him just outside, organising some new inventory items. Alright. Please, if you could spare a few moments. Okay. Ooh, another docking point. Let's see, docking point, docking point, docking point. Alpha. Quick. Alpha puffs out his chest proudly, seeming to imply that his Ironworks uniform is the best attire anyone could wear. I'd wear it too, but, you know, Mog Station. That might make a good crafting glam, actually. Maybe. Right, Omega. The equipment being manufactured here, it is worn to perform specific duties, yes? Conceptually, it seems analogous to our practice of switching frames to better serve our mission objectives. I, for example, did not begin existence with the Omega model. I was originally supplied with a standard issue Omicron chassis, serial number M017. On this world, that alphanumerical combination would be considered my given name. Such designations are drawn from our nearly infinite register of celestial bodies to avoid the possibility of duplication. Furthermore, the cluster known as M017 is better expressed in your language as the Omega Nebula, the same world I used to introduce myself to your kind. Though you associate Omega with the advanced weapon construct, it is also my name, and I see no reason to change it, no matter which frame I inhabit. Wow. Deep lore with the robot. Alright. Where am I going? It's going to be here, right? Yes. Right, quest 1 done. Another quest to go. We haven't even gone to the moon yet. I should bring him to Ultima Fool. That's all our orders accounted for, and everything looks to be of good quality. Kamala will be pleased. Hello. You with the scions. You were there. Yes, I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that day. Which day was it? There was a few quests happening there. You and your friends helped us escape when people began changing into beasts. Again, which event was that? Was that Favnir Golemald? My own son, he was afflicted. Then that huge monstrosity loomed right over him and... Alright, your son got turned and then got stepped on. And then you're about to turn and then Graha entered Crystal Exarch mode and helped everyone. Okay, I remember. I remember my heart turning to ice, freezing in place. The Sartrat came to my aid, but then he too was gone. Yeah. Oh, don't make me have a flashback of it. The memories run together in my mind like flashes from a nightmare. Only the words of your comrade still ring clear. I repeated them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run, for your sake and their own. Yeah, Graha MVP there. It all seemed so surreal, which was probably what saved me from the transformation. The truth of it didn't begin to sink in until the worst of it was over. I have not the words to describe how I felt then. The sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. I may still be wallowing in misery if not for my old friend, I had lost my will to work, and he encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now somehow, I live again. I am thankful to him, to the courageous Ahawan, and to you. If you see your comrades, please let them know that efforts were not in vain. Aww. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes? What changed to extract you from that stagnation? An offer of work from Jinabaha should mean little to one without the desire to accept it. Was it some manner of mortal instinct? A primal need to survive and thrive? Instinct? No, it wasn't that. And if anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and welcome an end to the pain. Every day I think of my boy's final moments. I think of how scared he must have been, how it must have hurt, and how I want to scream my throat raw. The Sartre too still haunts my dreams. I see him being swallowed whole, and the jolt awake in a cold sweat. Oh yeah, he got bored. Ugh. But something changed when Jinabaha came to me. I looked up and saw that, even without my son or Awan, the world around me continued to turn. Yep, still goes on without you. And because that fact grieved me so, I knew it fell to me to live on and remember them. Uh-oh. Strange, isn't it? What drives me to rise in the morning is the very sorrow which once crippled me. Now I really must return to my work. To lose this job after everything I said would be a poor jest indeed. I'm surprised he's fine talking to a robot toy. Yeah, may the sisters keep you well. Even after I fought them in battle. Sorrow, the emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize. This I have observed. Yet when I listen to how Nashvan's sorrow served to rescue him from near fatal despondency, his logic eludes me. Am I incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties? My best projections failed to predict our subject's responses, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Shinabaha and Khazal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis effect. I mean, it was Shinabaha which kind of set things off, but then you could say it would have been anything that caused anyone to go. Yeah. I am no closer to recognizing the pattern for involuntary transformations, and your ephemeral mortal spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. Have you considered that there is no pattern to the people affected? The hearts of others were ever shrouded in mystery. Perhaps it's time we move on to the next element you want clarified. There is no pattern. And yeah, you can't tell what a person's heart is, regardless of how much you think you can. Bloop. Even to you, the matter is far more complicated than I initially calculated. If those possessed of heart cannot fathom the behavior of their own kind, then my lack of understanding is inevitable. My investigations here are exhausted. In lieu of a full conclusion, I would settle for storing this accumulated data for future analysis. Let us progress to the next element of the report, that you might continue my education. Okay. Where to next? The moon? That'll... One quest down, one to go. Ooh. I think with that I should probably end this video here. Yeah, one quest a video sounds good. Where's Omega? Ah, there he is. Alpha. Where? Where? And the second and final quest, goodbye. That's the EA homeworld, isn't it? What the hell is this? I want to know. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna do this next time. Because I don't know how long the second quest is gonna take. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So, yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. This has been DragonofEternity going through more Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Patch 6.15 content. In this video, I went through the first quest of the Omega Beyond the Rift questline. So I took Omega to Fafnir and talked to a few of the locals. Next time, I suppose we are continuing his... I don't know what you would call it. Continue his testing? Continue his analysis? Yeah, let's go with analysis. Okay, so... yeah, with that planned out, viewers, for my rambling, hopefully now finally done. Until next time.